We're going to be continuing in our fight series. Tonight we're going to be looking at fighting focused, looking at the David and Goliath story. So I think some of us are going into a fight with without actually having a goal in mind. I know some fighters are just like, my goal is to take something down, whatever stands in my way. But we don't actually have a goal. We don't actually have a task. We don't actually have a plan in fighting. We just assume, like, I'm just going to start flailing my fists, and it works. And I think I'm reminded by a great line from a great movie by a great actor, Tom Hardy, who literally played Bane. And then when he's fighting Batman, Batman doesn't have really a goal in mind. He's just, I got to take this guy down somehow, some way. So he just starts flailing his fist around, not really having a plan in mind. And Bane looks at him and is like, you fight like little man, nothing held back. And it's true, because he's just like, and then Batman, and then he literally broke his back. Like, he breaks his back. And you know the rest of the story. Batman comes back, he sacrifices himself, sort of, and it's great. Happily ever after. Him and Catwoman run away to Italy somewhere. But, which is not the moral of the story. But I think if we're going to fight, we looked at getting prepared, but now we got to get our head in the game. We can't just start swinging it for the fences, because that is what we're supposed to do, and end up doing more damage than what we started out with. It can be scary, but we're going to look at the story of David and Goliath again tonight and see how he kind of, he knew he was prepared, but then after finding out he was prepared, he had to get his mind right. Now, sometimes it really, you'll see, it took the problem looking and kind of antagonizing David. And David wasn't going to have it. So if you got your Bibles, again, turn them on or turn in them to 1 Samuel 17. We're going to start in verse 41. And I'm just going to read it, and then we'll go back and hit different parts from it. All right, so catching up from last week, he's prepared. He's got his rocks in his sweet man satchel, in his slingshot he got from Walmart on sale for $27.14. Okay, so verse 41. And the Philistine moved forward and came near to David with his shield bearer in front of him. Wouldn't you like to be the shield bearer, like, of Goliath? He's carrying this, like, massive partition of a wall, essentially, and he's got to stand before him. Verse 42. And when the Philistine looked and saw David, he disdained him, which is like dissed him. Okay? Alright, so he dissed him. For he was but a youth, ruddy and handsome in appearance. I don't know why they put the handsome in appearance, but he was scrawny, a young kid, but handsome in appearance. Okay? He's like, and he's like John. No, alright. That's a compliment. I just called you handsome in front of people. It's a nice thing.
Also
Okay, I don't. Whoa.
Next series is going to be...
Next series on pride, really. Alright, verse 43. And the Philistine said to David, am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? The Philistine cursed David by his gods. The Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and to the beasts of the field. Isn't that nice? Like, that's their first welcome. It's like, hey, I'm Goliath. Come here so I can destroy you. It's so nice. Okay, so verse 45, and this is where David's like, okay, you dissed me. Alright? And then David said to the Philistine, you come to me with a sword and with a spear and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. And I will give the dead bodies of the host of the Philistines this day to the birds of the air and the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel, and that all the assembly may know that the Lord saves not with the sword and spear, for this battle is the Lord's. He will give you into our hand. It's revolt talk. David's tired of it. You can pick on David all day long, but when you pick on his God, we got some issues. David ain't gonna stand for that mess. So the first point that we're gonna look at tonight, first point is, don't let the things in front of you scare you. Don't let the things in front of you scare you. A lot of us, don't really have a lot of hard decisions in front of us right now. I don't know what that was.
It was a hiccup.
Okay. It sounded like someone saying, yep. And I was like, that's what reach on, here we go. A lot of us don't have a lot of tough decisions, but my goal in ministry and training y'all would be to, when stuff like this does come up, y'all are ready for them. And then some of y'all may be in a hard time and don't know really what to do. Maybe you're struggling with parents here. Maybe you're struggling with friends at school. Maybe you're struggling with, do I want to do this? Some of you might be starting to look at college and maybe you're going, well, I don't really know what I want to do. I think I want to go here and do this, but I think I'm being called to do this. You know, like my story, y'all know, I wanted to be a computer programmer because the average computer programmer out of Clemson University with his degree is $126,000 from what last time I checked, okay? I wanted to do that. It's not what I was called to be. I was called to be a youth pastor. I felt God calling that. A youth pastor does not make any of that money, pretty much. It makes not even a third of that. But I'm blessed because that's what I was called to be. It's different. And some of you maybe are right on the front side of a trial. You're looking in, and you know when you're about to do something that you know is going to hurt, but you have to do it. But that thought that goes through your mind like, this is going to hurt. That's kind of what you're feeling right now, and you don't know where you're going to look, and you're losing. A lot of us get scared of these things. And let me just bluntly tell you, that's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Because when you let these things scare you, you are letting the problem that isn't of God literally dictate how you're going to do life. You're literally letting God not move, and you're scared of something the devil is trying to throw at you, and Jesus already defeated these things. I know some of us struggle because on average, a teenager in high school will experience symptoms like for anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. You'll drift into looking at things on the computer you shouldn't. You'll definitely talk to your parents the way you shouldn't. You'll probably, the average and statistics are saying you most likely will go into college already having done something with a boy or a girl. That's the statistics out right now. I don't want y'all to be a statistic. I want y'all to be different. I want y'all to live in victory. And that's the thing. When we look at these things, we see all these things in front of us and it just scares us. We don't know what to do. It intimidates us. Now, if David was to walk out there on this battlefield, all triumphant, he's already told Saul, you know, I smacked a bear in the face. I backhanded a lion. He tried to run off. I grabbed his tail, brought him back in, slapped him again, took my lamb back. I think I can take this guy on. And then he was to walk out, and Goliath's like, you come at me with sticks? And David goes, I don't know who he's talking about. The stick? I ain't got a stick. I'm out of here. Like, and he would have seen this and go, maybe I bit off more than I could chew. Maybe I said I could do this, and I really can't. But I think the difference between David and maybe what we would, because if, to think about it today, like it would be essentially like me walking up and I'm going, you know, like seriously? Because I know some guys did this in high school. They go to their guys like, you know, I really bet I could just destroy that guy. Like, and we had a huge guy, his name's Kaz Curran, and he wasn't my height. I'd say he was probably he's probably Drake's height, but he had the build of like The Rock. I mean, he had just muscles like on muscles. Like when he flexed, his neck exploded. Like I didn't understand it, but he was intimidating, and like no one could. And I'm looking like this, but like 5'8", real intimidating. I don't know why y'all are laughing. It's not funny. I could smack him down. Like, and I would like I bet I could destroy him. I heard him say this one thing, and I'm going to light into him. I'm tired of this cast coming. I heard you say something about me. That's essentially what we do. We look at these problems and we come to church and we associate with our friends and we tell our friends how it's going to be and we tell them how. But when the problem actually comes, you don't know what to do and you're shaking in your boots and you're scared. And you definitely won't talk to anybody about it. You definitely aren't going to come to the youth pastor. And if I could put money, I'm not going to be like 10 times out of 10, but I would say 8 times out of 10, you definitely won't talk to God. And that's a problem. Because David didn't look at Saul and go, I whooped the bear and I whooped the lamb. He went into Saul and goes, by the grace of God, he let me do this. And by the power of God, I know for a fact I'll be able to take on Goliath. And when Goliath came out, 9 foot, he huge man, he had his sword, he was ready to go. He was going with one swift swoop. He could have chopped David in half, just destroyed him. Intimidates him, and David says, I've come in the name of the Lord. The God of the universe will do these things. He's already given you to me. I'm going to take you down. I'm going to cut off your head. And all your buddies standing behind you, cheering you on, yeah, they're going to die too. And I will give their flesh to the birds and of the wild beasts, like you said you were going to do to me. You know why? Because no, God does not come in here swinging a club, but He saved and He's already given me the battle. You are going to die this day. He has confidence with that problem. Some of us experience, and it's so average these days, with anxiety and depression and like parents saying these things and friends saying these things and being bullied. It's so easy to be like snuck into kind of a dark corner with anxiety and depression. I know that it's normal. The thing is, I don't want those things to send you in fear. Because like so many people before David, they went to Goliath. Goliath came out to him and they ran away. Don't run away from your problems. Don't run away from your problems. Don't let them scare you. If you've got a problem with someone, go to them. Talk it out. If you've got a problem with anxiety or depression or suicidal thoughts or, physically harming yourself by like cutting and stuff like that, seriously, talk to someone. You're not weak for admitting problems. You're strong enough to say, I have an issue and I need help. Help me. That's not admitting you're weak. But if you let these things scare you, you will lose focus. These things are constantly trying to rip you away from focusing on God. Because it's real easy. You can have a great, awesome life of just reading the Bible and getting deep into it and highlighting everything and marking everything and just being on fire for God, but then you miss a day. And then you miss another day. And you thought you had something in the bag, like you thought it was yours. You just didn't have it. You started to get a little scared. You started to blame God. Or you start thinking, oh, God's not fair. Why would I go to church? Why would I be with other people? Because if they love God, and God shows He doesn't love me or care for me, then why would I go and be with them and hang out with them? And then more problems start to happen. And more problems start to happen. And you literally, not on purpose, but subconsciously, are pushing God away. And God, instead of becoming close to you, because you can have Jesus and still do this, or some of you maybe in this room don't have Jesus, so Jesus is still out here. But you literally, it can be one thing. The snowball effect starts rolling, getting bigger. And it could have started with, he said this, and it wasn't even true and you didn't find out. But it slowly, you'll see God going from like really close. I'm reading my Bible every day. I'm reading a devotion. I'm reading a Christian book written by a Christian author. I'm trying not to cuss, or I'm trying not to do these things, and I'm trying to be nicer to people. And you go from this God right here walking beside you to, well, how? Why? When? What? And God is now sitting on the outside, and then you go grasping and you don't know where He's at. Because you've literally pushed Him out. If a lot of us were to be honest when it comes through stuff, you don't want God to help you. You don't. Because sin has tricked you into thinking you can fix everything. You can't. Sin has tricked you into thinking that you can rule the world. You can't. Sin has tricked you into thinking you can ride on the coattails of your parents' faith, and you can't. I know several people, that they will get to heaven and they'll say, I was raised in the church, my dad was a pastor, I went to Sunday school every Sunday, I was a really good kid, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I gave tithe, even when I was a broke college student, I still gave, I did this, and Jesus is going to look at them and go, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. Because they never had a relationship. And if you do not have a relationship, problems hit and you have nothing to focus to. You have nothing there. You don't know. See, when I have Jesus in my life, when I come through things, and yes, like even today, we had something come up that I did not like. I did not want happening. This was a dream. This was perfect. Life was coming together. And then in a split second, it was gone. I hate that. I was telling all my friends about this possible thing. It was great. It was going to be perfect. We had dreams about what we were going to be able to do and how it was going to look, and it was going to be perfect, and we were going to walk into the sunset, and it's gone. It's just gone. Like that, over a text message. And in that moment, I looked and go, what did I do? I prayed. You said yes. I listened. I was doing everything right. I wasn't bragging about it. I was praising you for giving me this opportunity. Everybody that asked, I was saying I was blessed to be able to do something like this at my age. And it's gone. And in that moment, instead of going, God, you stay out here. You stay put. Because if you're right here with me right now, and this is going on, I'd much rather have you outside the fence. I'll take it from here. When in that moment, I need to look to Jesus, look to God, and say, look, I've tried to run something, and I have slipped, and something has happened. God, come closer. Fix this. You will get the glory in the end. Because that's the way we live our life. When you are fighting focus, your goal should be, what can I do in this situation to give God the most glory? And if you're in there going, I want to be able to do this so I can get through the hallways and people can see how good I am, you're flawed, and God will forever be out here. It's not about you. It's never been about you. It's how can God be on display in my life? So if I take that situation today, and I'm going to be honest, I walked around for about 2 hours, utterly wanting to punch a wall, throw a brick. a hole through a brick wall. I've had it. People wronged me. They didn't even know me. They didn't even see my face. And when I'm doing that, but I need explaining. I put trust in people. I didn't do anything wrong. I set up, I covered my tail. If I'm going to be really honest, when the one that God put me with was trying to point me to God and I pushed her away, I believe firmly that there is a point where God looks at this and goes, you try it then. But I also believe in that moment God says, but I'll be right here because I love you. We all see these moments as little kids. The I can do it. The I can do it moment. I remember as a third grader, that's a little bit older. My voice wasn't this deep, but it was close to it. You can laugh at that. Thank you, Matthew. And as a third grader, we were, I think this was the second year at the house over in Bonnie Bray. And we got Razor scooters. That's when Razor scooters were really popular. And I thought it was cool because I could bunny hop off the curb, a solid 3 inches of air. That was sweet, all right? And my mom looked at me. She's talking to our neighbors. My mom looks at me and goes, Tyler, you need to put this up. It's getting a little dark. You might not be able to see. It's getting a little dangerous. And you're going a little fast. You might want to slow down. One more, Mom. I can do it. I go off the curb. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in somebody else's arm and a white t-shirt has turned red from blood. I had flipped over the handlebars and cracked my skull from here up and over. I missed the last 3 months of school. They kept me in the hospital overnight. The doctor says if I would have landed a half of an inch to the left or to the right, I would have died. And if I would have worn my helmet, and I'm not saying go out, if your parents say wear a helmet, wear a helmet. But if I would have worn the helmet that I had one of those, y'all may remember, y'all might be a little too young, but the Mongoose helmets that look like the dirt bike helmets, and you were really cool if you had them, I had one of those. And if I would have worn that helmet, I would have cracked my neck and been paralyzed from the neck down. I can do it. And still the first person that I cried and wanted there closest to me when I was scared, because I woke up, I blacked out, I was unconscious, I woke up, next thing I know I'm being carried and I'm bleeding a lot. And next thing I'm calling for my mom, my parent, my dad. Where are they? They need to be here. I am in distress, I am scared, I don't know what's going on. Why are we having to go to the hospital? It's simple. I just landed on my face. No big deal. All right. It's cool. Maybe I got a concussion. No big deal. I was a boy. We grow up with concussions. It's no big deal. But for some reason I had to go to the hospital. And they kept me overnight. I was really scared, but still, the first thing I called to was my parents. I think when we go through hard times like anxiety, depression, wrong relationships with parents, wrong relationships with a guy or a girl, friends saying this, being bullied, which bullying is on the rise, guys. Really, don't be a bully, because I'm reminded in Star Wars, there's always a bigger fish. And then, second, it's not worth it and it's not cool at all. Like, at all. I don't care if you think picking on someone's funny. You're not funny and you're not cool. But in those moments, it's real easy to not call for help because you want to fix it. But if my parents were there right when I was going through something and they were right there, they were ready, it was as if they were ready to come to me to help me, how much more will my Heavenly Father, when I go through anxiety, depression, bigger issues that only He can tackle, if I go to Him going, Dad, I need your help, I don't understand and I'm scared. I don't understand. Your Heavenly Father is right there going, it's all right, we're going to get through this. We might need to tweak some things you're not going to like. but we're going to get through this. And I'm going to help you. Point number 2, tell the problem how it's going to be. Point number 2 is tell the problem how it's going to be. Have you seen those, y'all watch TV, have you seen those cigarette commercials that are out?
Yes.
With like the pretty young girl that you know for a fact probably doesn't smoke, but she's like, we have to go outside when he wants to. And it's like, where's she going with this? Like, is this a puppy commercial? Am I about to hear, in the arms of the angel? And then next thing I know, I'm donating $20, but it's okay because I got a t-shirt that I'll never wear and a satchel that goes on my back and a Frisbee that I don't know why I'm getting a Frisbee, but I got a Frisbee. But it's talking about like how this one problem dictates how life is going to be run. And she can't stick up for it. She's just kind of like, she notices the problem. She's like, he just does this. And he tells me how it's going to be. And we have to do this. Last week we had to get up during the movies to go outside. Yada, 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 yada. She knows it's there. And next thing you know, she's sitting on the front porch smoking a cigarette. She sees the problem, but she's doing nothing about it. Tell the problem how it's going to be. Anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. Tell them you are not going to have anything to do with my life. Now don't sit there and go, I could really tell my sister that. She is a problem in my life. Or I could tell my brother this. Or look at a parent, or go home and go, my parents have been causing me some stress. I can sit there and go, Tyler said that I should tell you how it's going to be. Don't do that. If I get calls tonight, and I got to preach again, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm going to, and I know your parents, so don't sit there and try to hide it. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if like you have a bad relationship with someone and you know it, walk in there and going, hey, I know we have something between us that isn't right. We need to fix it. I don't think it's healthy. I told you I had issues with my dad. Now I'm not going into all the stories of like why my dad is the way he is, and that's weird, John. You can backslap her if you need to. She's a problem. But if I told y'all how my dad was, I'm not going to tell you all the issues with my dad or whatever. But when I looked at my dad and go, we have an issue and I need help. We need to fix it. We had a 3-hour conversation out back behind my Mustang, because that's when I had a Mustang, and we sat there for 3 hours just talking. Going, hey Dad, you said this a couple years back, but it still stuck with me, and I want you to know that hurt me and that bothered me. Can we not do that again? Yeah, but Tyler, this is where I was coming, like it was serious. Tyler, this is where I was coming from. I didn't mean it the way you took it. So from now on, if I say something like that, can you approach me and let's work it out there? I would love to do that. This is how we still tackle things. He'll call me up. You have to do this right now. I'll hang up. I'll text him. I'm not going to do that. He calls me back. Okay, all right, you didn't understand. What I'm asking is when you get a free moment, if you could run this to the office, that'd be great. I'll meet you over there and we'll fix all that stuff. See the tone difference? See, if you were to ask me at 15, 16, 17, possibly even 18, if my dad would have been my best man at my wedding, I'd have probably laughed at you and just walked away. But because me and my dad saw an issue and we looked at this and says, there's a problem here, we need to fix it, because we both have kind of this anger that isn't, you've seen a magnet and the opposites attract, but when you have like the like sides, they just kind of like, and you'll push them, you'll try to push them together, but they never like click and just slide off of you. And so it's fun because then you'll start throwing stuff at it, it'll bounce. It never connects. And that's what anger and stuff and anxiety will do to a relationship with you and God or with you and people. It's just, that's you trying to do it on your own strength. But But when you look at this and go, there's a problem here, there's obviously something we are reverberating off each other, it's not working, we need to fix it. It clicks again. So that's my challenge. Because next week we're going to do something that I think is going to be a pretty cool reminder. And I want y'all to be thinking about this, because when UFC fighters get ready for fights, they don't just like, all right, let's go, and they strap on gloves and they're ready to go. They wrap their hands. Yeah? Y'all know what I'm talking about? So what we're going to do next week is we're going to get the tape, and we're actually going to write something down that we're struggling with. And we're going to be bold in that. We're going to write that down on the on the tape. And it's going to be a reminder of, because when that tape, if you would watch them take off the gloves, the dirt that's on these things, because they got hard in the battle. They got focused. And I want us to look at that grip tape and there's problems. And it could be something like pride. If you were to ask me what I'll probably write on mine, it's pride. I have a pride issue. Some of you might say disobedience. Back talking. And you'd write that on and just leave it somewhere where you can see, like, this is what I am going to fight to overcome. It's going to be pretty cool. I'll explain more of that next week. But when you tell the problem how it's going to be, please be bold and take ownership. Don't sit there and go, well, I'm the way I am because of such and such. No, take ownership. It's your problem. I'm the way I am because of this. No, take ownership. It's not your parents' anxiety issue. They might be, edging it along a little bit. It's not your parents' depression issue. It's not your boyfriend's issue. It's your issue. So get down and dirty, fight. Point number 3, stand taller than you are. You literally, with Christ, stand on the shoulders of Jesus. A problem that is way over your head is at the feet of Jesus. And you stand on His shoulders. Now, when I didn't have a relationship with Christ, the rocks that I viewed like anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, bad relationship with my dad, bad relationship with my mom, horrible relationships with girls, I viewed all these as like stones, boulders, crushing me down, pushing me down. I was not standing on the shoulders of Jesus. I was being crumpled. Couldn't take it. When I found Jesus in a dark moment, I used those things and stepped on them towards Him. There was nothing. They were beneath my feet. And I haven't looked back. I don't struggle with suicidal thoughts. I don't struggle with cutting myself or hurting myself. I don't struggle with anxiety. I don't struggle with depression. I don't struggle with these things anymore. Why? Because I live in the victory of Jesus. I'm not playing the victim. It's not the reason my dad did this, or not the reason my mom did this, or Justin might have said this, or Kristen might have said this, or this relationship ended this way, or me and Rachel got in a fight last week, or this decision didn't work out and I thought it was mine. I don't look at these and go, well, what was me? God is trying to punish me. I use it as, okay, God, what in the world are you trying to teach me? What have I learned? Be more patient. Love more. I've learned that I can't talk to Rachel the same way I talk to Fink. I've learned that I got to be patient with other people because people will let me down, but my God won't. And when things like this creep into my mind and creep into my head, you know who I'll talk to? My wife, Fink, my dad, Pastor Russ, Michael, my mentor Jim Thompson, my mentor Nathan Forrest. I've talked to Justin a little bit before. I've surrounded myself with people that are going to go, whoa, what? Have you talked to God about this? I've sat outside with Rachel for hours talking about things. I've sat outside with Fink working through issues. I've sat at staff meeting when we're supposed to go over plans with Pastor Russ and Michael Sandlin. Just, this has come up. How should I approach this? And we literally just go to God. Do you have that in your life? Do you have God as a father, or is God just something that you may hear on Sunday and see? Or are you afraid of it because you shouldn't be, because He is going to help it? But Jesus is not a Band-Aid. Don't treat Him like a Band-Aid. Don't treat my God like a Band-Aid. Because a Band-Aid you can rip off and get rid of and throw it away. My God's with me forever. He walks hand in hand with me through everything. He's the author and the perfecter of my faith. He goes before me and He is after me. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He is a God that sent His Son, His only Son, to be whipped, flogged, shredded, looking like dadgum barbecue. Took Him to the cross, nailed Him with railroad spikes through His wrists and through His ankles, and my God breathed His last breath for me. Why? Because He loves me. And I'm not going to do the Sunday school where He loves me this much, but He loves me that much. And He left me with a promise saying, I'm not done here. I know it looks like I'm dying, but I'm coming back in 3 days, because you know what? I'm going to kill death, and you will come back with me. I'm giving you everlasting life. And that's how it's going to be. He died. And people even then, they said, I don't know where He's at. I don't know how He's going to overcome this. He's done so much now, but I don't understand. I don't get it. Why would He have to do that? And 3 days later, He comes back busting through. He goes, I killed death. I'm the one that has defeated sin. Every problem that you have is in the grave. I walk triumphantly. I walk in victory. And here's the thing, I give you the same victory. So if you want to live the victim and stay in the grave, cool. But my God is like a lion, and He's roaring and He's busting out. If a grave can't keep Him down, no man, no law, nothing like that can keep Him down. And there's no problem that I can throw at Him that He hasn't defeated. Understood? So my question is, do you have a relationship with that God? Or are you trying to fix it on your own? Do you have a relationship with that? Or have you been putting it off? You know, because you've been raised in church your whole life. Or because you're afraid people think I'm a Christian. I think we know good and well in this room, when you find Jesus for the first time, or you nail it down, we get pretty darn excited in here, do we not? I don't think there should be an embarrassment thing. Because my God is what? Bigger, better, and bolder than anything this world can offer.